Hello and welcome to our Flip video lesson 1.10, Different Perspectives. Learning objectives of this lesson: analyze primary sources to discern differing viewpoints about Athens and recognize how other Greek city-states reacted to Athenian dominance, and dominance means control or power. Table of contents: introduction, the Delian League and the perspectives it had, student guide questions 289 to 292, important vocabulary. You're going to use this vocabulary to help with your understanding of the lesson. And then there are no Human Odyssey reading pages for this lesson. So a quick note, the PDF slides are posted in your OMS. So remember, if you need to go back and review, you can always go to your OMS and they are posted there. 1.10, Different Perspectives. Our experiences influence the way we see events. Athenians took enormous pride in their accomplishments and way of life. When Pericles made a speech honoring those who had died defending Athens, he explained why the entire world should admire Athens. Many other Greeks thought the Athenians were far too proud, and some even viewed the city-state as an arrogant bully. So let's go ahead and take a quick pause. We're going to watch a video on the Delian League. And just kind of a background, the Delian League was supposed to be an association of Greek city-states, but Athens quickly took control. When some city-states wanted to leave the league, the Athenians prevented them from withdrawing. Pericles proudly held Athens up as an example for other city-states to follow, but Thucydides criticized the Delian League and the way Athens controlled it. So let's go ahead and take a quick pause in this video and we'll watch another video and then we'll come back to our flip lesson.
After the bloody conflict, the Greeks finally managed to expel the Persians from their territory. The Greek city-states were unified and established by the Hellenic League. This alliance was commanded by Sparta and had the goal to defend Greece against a Persian invasion. However, after the Persian defeat, the Spartans and their allies of the Peloponnesus did not see any point in extending the alliance. After the exit of the Spartans and their allies, the alliance's leadership was in the hands of the city of Athens. In Asia Minor, the Greek cities which were under the Persian rule took advantage of the frailty of their enemies and became independent from the Persian Empire. However, they feared being conquered again, and so they joined the alliance led by Athens. The members of the former Hellenic League reunited in the sacred island of Delos, where they agreed to provide ships to form a great fleet to stand for their members in case of future Persian invasions. The cities that could not lend any ships to the alliance would be forced to pay tribute to maintain the armies. A major part of the collected resources was used to reconstruct the city of Athens, which had been shattered during the war against Xerxes. As years went by, Athens kept strengthening itself more and more as the leader of the Confederation. Leading the Mediterranean's most powerful fleet, Athens started to rule the region's sea trade, becoming the wealthiest city in Greece. As years went by, the risk of a Persian counterattack became unlikely. Therefore, some Greek cities decided to lead the Delian League. However, Athens did not allow it. Tired of paying tributes to the League, some cities rebelled and wanted their independence. Athens crushed the rebellions and destroyed the fortifications of the rebelling cities. So the cities became vulnerable and no longer could carry out an uprising. Athens now had far greater authority, which largely exceeded its role as leader of the alliance. Its relationship with the remaining cities was now sovereign vassal. A new leader emerged in Athens. His name was Pericles. One of his first measures was to bring the alliance's treasure, located in Delos, to Athens. The wealth of the Confederation was used for several purposes which were not related to the defense of the League's members. Pericles used part of that treasure to reconstruct and extend the Acropolis of Athens. Prosperity started to reign in Athens. Its golden age had begun. Their Spartan neighbors watched the birth of the Athenian Empire with concern.
All right, go ahead and open your student guide. All right, so part 1, Pericles. And so these are primary source documents. This is a primary source document is something that was actually taken from that time period. So these are things that were actually said. Pericles When our work is done, we are in a position to enjoy all kinds of recreation for our spirits. There are ceremonies and contests all year. In our homes, we find a beauty and good taste which delight us every day and drive away our cares. Thucydides. The Athenians were very severe and exacting and made themselves offensive by applying the screw of necessity, applying economic pressure, to men who were not used to and, in fact, not disposed for any continuous labor. And so there's two different perspectives on this Delian League. So question number 1, which author describes Athens as a place with time for pleasant relaxation? And then question number 2, which author describes people being forced to do hard work? So I want you to think about that. I'm sure you can figure out the answer, and go ahead and you can write that in your student guide. And then question number 3, circle 3 words in each quotation that give either a positive or a negative impression of Athens. And then look at the words you circled. Are the words from Thucydides positive, negative, or some of each? Are the words from Pericles positive, negative, or some of each? Okay, so go ahead and think about that as well. Part 2, Thucydides. In some other respects, the Athenians were not the old popular rulers they had been at first, and it was easy for them to reduce or defeat any that tried to leave the confederacy. And then Pericles. Ours is a democracy because power is in the hands of not a minority, but of the whole people. So then again, your questions in your student guide, take a look at question number 4. Pericles says that Athens is a democracy. How does he explain what he means by democracy? And then question number 5, do you think Thucydides would agree that Athens was a democracy? Would he see Athens' role in the Delian League as democratic? Why or why not? So I want you to take a little bit of time to think about those questions as well. And then part 3, Thucydides. For this, the allies had themselves to blame. The wish to get off service making most of them arrange to pay their share of the expense in money instead of in ships, and so to avoid having to leave their homes. Thus, while Athens was increasing her navy with the funds they contributed, a revolt always found them without resources or experience for war. And then question number 6. According to Thucydides, the members of the League were partly to blame for their situation. They could not leave the League because Athens would attack. Athens was able to attack because the members had given Athens money to build a navy instead of building their own. Was Athens justified in using the resources of the League in this way? Why or why not? So you can think about that question as well, and think about what you would answer to that. Were they justified in taking the money and building a larger army, or do you think that they should have left the money with the individual city-states for each to build their own army? And then part 3 continued, Pericles. I could tell you what we gain by defeating our enemies. Instead, I would rather have you gaze on the greatness of Athens every day. Then you would realize her greatness. So question number 7, Pericles asked you to gaze on the greatness of Athens every day in order to judge that greatness. Do you agree with him that looking at the buildings and life of the city of Athens is the best way to judge the city-state? Are there other questions you would like to ask Athens before making a judgment? And so that's just your opinion. This is an opinion question. What do you think? What would the answer to those questions be? And I went ahead and put question answers if you'd like to fill in your book, but I'm going to go ahead and skip through this fairly quickly in the flip video. You can either pause and go back to this when you have time. I want you to answer your questions first, and then you can check with those answers. And then here's just a quick picture, a primary source. This is a coin. The front of this coin from the 5th century BCE shows the helmeted bust of Athena. The back depicts the owl symbol of Athens with the AOE inscription, meaning of the Athenians. Vocabulary is key to understanding comprehension. All right, Thucydides is an Athenian general and author of History of the Peloponnesian War, Pericles is a Greek statesman and general during the Golden Age of Athens. Delian League is a league that was founded in 478 BCE following the Persian War to be a military alliance against any enemies that might threaten Ionian Greeks. And then primary source. Primary sources are documents, images, or artifacts that provide firsthand testimony or direct evidence. And there is no reading for this lesson today, so just a reminder of that. So here we come to our quote section. It's common sense to take a method and try it. If it fails, admit it frankly and try another. But above all, try something. And that was said by Franklin D. Roosevelt. And here we come to the end of our flip video lesson. The secret to your future is hidden in your daily routine. Thanks so much for joining me today. Always do your best.